So the Tennessee Titans are an embarrassment to football. They're 0-4. They've looked like the worst team in the league for my money. They just got shut out by the Houston Texans on the road. And I do think there's going to be some wholesale changes with this team very shortly. I think Brian Callahan in the next couple of weeks is going to get fired. I don't think there's any argument. He is the worst head coach in the league. He has a 3-18 record in his first 2 seasons as a head coach, and he was supposed to come in and be some great offensive mind. He was first tasked with fixing Will Levis and developing him. And Levis looked like he regressed last year, and he was one of the worst quarterbacks to ever take a snap in the NFL. He just so happened to be kind of the scapegoat for last season, so the Titans got the #1 pick, and who did they draft? Cam Ward out of Miami, who was a Heisman hopeful last year, who many saw as the best quarterback in the country last season. And mind you, that was less than 12 months ago. Cam Ward was seen as a pretty good prospect entering the NFL, the no doubt about it, #1 quarterback in his draft class. And personally, if you just watch the games, I don't think Ward has been that bad. Obviously, he's a rookie. He's going to make some mistakes. Sometimes his processing is a little bit too slow. Maybe he bails out of the pocket before he needs to. But I kind of said those things during the draft process, that Ward was a guy that did need some development. He wasn't going to come in right away and be like this generational player or have like a Justin Herbert or CJ Stroud rookie year, because the way that he won and was successful in Miami was with the off-script playmaking plays. And we have already seen those a few times for the Titans this season. But I've actually thought on a game-to-game basis, he's done some pretty good things in the structure of the offense, but again, there was still some development needed in that area of his game, and we have not seen that really be developed a lot. And I think that is, again, on the shoulders of head coach Brian Callahan, because he's supposed to be some good offensive mind who got the most out of Joe Burrow. He knows what he's doing, but he just simply doesn't. He already gave up play calling duties to Bo Hargety, their quarterback coach. And so now I'm kind of sitting here like, what value does Brian Callahan bring as a head coach? The Titans are one of the most undisciplined teams in the league. They're top 5 in penalties. His game management is not good at all. I remember against the Colts, he brought out Joey Sly to kick a 57-yard field goal. He misses it. Then the very next possession, the Titans again are going to attempt a 57-yard field goal. They get a delay of game. So now it's a 62-yard field goal. He again says, Joey Sly, go attempt this kick. He obviously misses it, and the Colts get a chance to score before half. And a side note to that is Joey Sly has been one of the worst kickers in the league this year. He again missed a couple of kicks this past weekend against the Texans, and he's again just not very good at his job, and I don't think he should be the kicker for the Titans moving forward. But when your head coach brings no value in terms of calling plays, he's bad game management wise, and he can't even discipline the team correctly, what is he bringing to the table that wants you to keep him employed? He simply is one of the worst head coaches I think we've ever seen. You didn't have him in the press conferences after the games calling out the media. It's like, can this get any worse? I was honestly really surprised that when I woke up, I didn't have the notification on my phone. Brian Callahan, he's been relieved of his duties. Like, it's been that bad. The eye test for the Titans offense, and he's supposed to be an offensive coach. It has been that bad. They are averaging 12.8 points per game, which is dead last in the league. And it's not like the cupboard is completely bare with this offense. They have some pieces. That's another thing that makes no sense about how bad they've been. I'm not saying that this offense has a ton of world beaters and future Hall of Fame players, but Calvin Ridley is a solid wide receiver. Tony Pollard is a solid running back. Chigga Kwonkwo is a pretty good tight end. And even Alec Ayumanner, he's been pretty good for a day 3 rookie. He's honestly been the best weapon the Titans have had. The offensive line, they invested 2 first-round picks in the last 3 years to shore up that unit. They paid a bunch of money to Dan Moore. They brought in Kevin Zeitler and Lloyd Cushenberry. I don't understand, with all the draft capital, all the money spent in free agency, why this offense is averaging 12.8 points per game. It's just unbelievable to me. So when you have that talent and you have the #1 overall pick, who a lot of people liked coming out of college, the blame, in my opinion, squarely goes on the shoulders of Brian Callahan. It's his offense, it's his team, and his offense has been atrocious for 2 years now. And what makes it even more disappointing is the Titans defense, it's pretty good. Like, they have some pieces on that side of the ball. Jeffrey Simmons is one of the best defensive linemen in the league, period. Devondre Sweat, one of their top picks in last year's draft. When he's healthy, he's one of the best run stuffers in the league. So they have some pieces on defense. I know L'Jarius Sneed's been pretty disappointing since they traded for him and paid him a large contract. Even last year, the Titans defense was pretty good. It kept them in a lot of games. But what happens as the season goes along is once your offense is so putrid, you continuously go 3 and out, your defense gets tired, and they're also all humans. They know, like, okay, we have no hope. We're not going to win this game. Why should I be going 150%, trying my hardest to stop this offense if our offense ourselves is just going to go 3 and out and put us right back on the field? I think you could argue this Titans defense, when fully healthy, is around middle of the pack. The problem, though, is, again, like what I just said, by the end of the season, they're probably not going to be showing that in the rankings. That is simply because of their offense. And I was not even super high on the Titans this year. I saw them again as one of the worst teams in the league, but I thought they would be a little bit more competitive this year than what they've shown. I thought Will Levis was a big reason why they weren't able to win more games last season. And I thought, hey, just getting Cam Ward in the offense, that'll give them maybe a boost of 3 to 4 wins. They can win 6 games this year, and they can just look like a real football team. But I guess I was super wrong, and it's way larger than just a Will Levis issue. It's a coaching staff and Brian Callahan issue. So I think moving forward, he probably has 2 or 3 weeks left. Like, I just can't really see the Titans winning a game with him right now. I mean, is it crazy to say they could go 0-17 if they employ Callahan all season long? Like, they have looked lifeless, and they have not even been competitive in most of these games, and T'Vondre Sweat's hurt now. Who knows what their defense is going to look like moving forward? I mean, it's just very, very bleak. I just don't quite understand what the Titans organization is doing. Like, I did like the hire of Mike Borgonzi from the Kansas City Chiefs. He was a pretty highly sought-after GM candidate, but I don't know why they didn't let him hire his own guy this year. Why would you waste another entire season, ruin a year development for your first overall pick in Cam Ward, just to kind of rip the Band-Aid off and bring in an entirely new coaching staff just a year later? It just made no sense to me. But I don't foresee something where he's going to be fired and really the entire Titans organization will be out of jobs, because I do think he was a good candidate, and it's not like these issues are really his fault. Like, he wasn't given an opportunity to bring in his own head coach. But the pressure now is going to be on him, because Cam Ward's rookie season is basically a wash. So you lose a year of development, you lose a year of him on his rookie contract before you have to probably, presumably, and hopefully have to pay him a large-scale contract, which makes team building harder. So you got to make sure you nail who the next head coach is going to be. You got to surround Cam Ward better with pieces, because the Titans, like I said, are one of the worst teams in the league in terms of penalties. They're top of the league in drops as well. They cannot run the football either. All of that is very detrimental to a young quarterback. So all that's got to change moving forward, and it's not like there's a ton of really good head coach candidates this year. Maybe somebody like Joe Brady of the Buffalo Bills could be somebody cool to bring in and help out Cam Ward. But I would also like to point out that if anybody is saying, I'm out on Cam Ward, he's a bust, he was not worth the first overall pick already, they simply need to stop talking about football, because I thought he's actually been pretty solid. Like, we have seen some of the backyard football plays. I mean, one of the best plays of the NFL season so far was when he ran outside the pocket against the Rams, across his body in the end zone to Aiyuk Manor. I mean, that was an unbelievable play. He's just not getting a lot of help with his pass protection, one of the worst run games, ton of drops from his weapons. His coaching staff is a joke. Like, there's really not much you can expect from a quarterback in his first season. So I'm still bullish on Ward just being a good player moving forward. How high is that ceiling? Will he become an elite quarterback like a Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson? Probably not, but can he just be a top 10 to 12 guy for, 10 plus years? I definitely think that's a possibility, but it does come down to some needed development, and that's not off to a good start with Brian Callahan. The Titans have to nail their next head coach, or I do think we could see a world where Cam Ward, he was wasted in Tennessee. Like, he's not going to reach his full potential if they don't get this next head coach hire right. But yeah, Titans fans, I feel really sorry for you. There was a lot of hype and optimism heading into the season. You get to see your number 1 overall pick quarterback come in, hopefully play some pretty good football. And maybe if things went really well, you'd be able to compete for a wild card, but it has not even come close to that. This team arguably has looked worse than the team last year, and that sucks. That just flat out sucks. But my advice to you is just keep firing up those mock drafts. I think Ruben Bain out of Miami, just one of the best pass rushing prospects we've seen in the last couple of years. He could be a monster on that defensive line. Pair him up with Jeffrey Simmons and T'Vondre Sweat. You got something cooking there. I know a lot of fans are going to want a receiver, but I don't think there's anybody worth taking inside like the top 5 or 10, where I do think the Titans are a lock to be picking. But what do you think about this Tennessee Titans team? Do you agree with me that Brian Callahan is the number 1 issue with this franchise currently, or do you think somebody else deserves more blame? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. But subscribe to the channel if you are new. Drop a like in the video if you did enjoy it. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in my next one.